The Soul's Day. They say there's one night every year when the veil between the living and the dead disappears. A night when the air turns colder than it should, and the world goes silent, as if it's holding its breath. In the year 1500 AD, the villagers of Graven Hollow called it the Soul's Day. No one really knew where the belief began. Some said it came from the monks who settled in the valley a century earlier, building a stone church with a bell that only rang on the first frost of November. Others said the custom was older than the church, older than the village itself, a promise made long ago between the living and the lost. When the leaves fell and the mist crept up from the river, the people of Graven Hollow would light 3 candles on their windowsills, one for the living, one for the dead, and one for the souls in between. It was said the light would guide the wandering spirits back to peace and keep the vengeful ones away. That year the frost came early. The priest, Father Aldrich, warned his congregation to prepare for the Soul's Day with reverence and prayer. He was a solemn man with tired eyes, but his words carried weight. "The bell will ring once at midnight," he told them. "When it does, speak no names of the dead. Light your candles, stay indoors, and let the night pass." But not everyone believed. Thomas Becket, the village blacksmith, was a loud, stubborn man. He mocked the priest's warning in front of everyone. "If the dead want a candle, they can forge one themselves." He laughed. "I'll not waste good wax on ghost stories." The others laughed nervously, but Father Aldrich only frowned. "Pride burns brighter than any candle, Thomas," he said. "And it burns faster, too." When the night came, the fog rolled in like a living thing. It coiled around the trees thick and wet, muting the sound of the river and the creak of the mills. Doors were bolted, curtains drawn. Only the flicker of candles glowed through the mist, scattered like stars fallen to earth. Thomas sat by his forge, his fire still burning. The village bell had not yet tolled, but the night already felt wrong. He drank from his flask, chuckling to himself, until he heard it. Knock, knock, slow, deliberate. He froze. No one would be out this late, not on Soul's Day. He stepped closer to the door. "Who's there?" Silence, then again, knock, knock, knock. The sound was softer now, like fingers brushing the wood instead of striking it. He opened the door just a crack. A cold wind swept in, carrying the scent of earth and candle smoke. Through the fog stood a figure, small, frail. It was his mother. But she had been dead for 10 years. Her eyes were hollow but kind, her lips barely moving. "Tommy," she whispered, "you didn't light a candle." He slammed the door and stumbled back, heart pounding. "No," he muttered. "No, no. No!" He turned toward the fire and saw her shadow still standing against the wall. Outside, the bell began to toll. Across Graven Hollow, every door trembled. Every candle flame wavered. People prayed, whispered, wept. The dead had come home. Father Aldrich knelt at the altar, clutching his crucifix, his voice shaking as he chanted the old rites. He could hear footsteps outside the church, slow, dragging, countless. The fog pressed against the stained glass like a living tide. At dawn, the sun rose pale and colorless. Half the candles had burned out. Half the doors stood open, and half the village was gone. Where Thomas's forge had stood, there was only ash. The ground around it was marked by footprints, leading toward the churchyard, and stopping at the graves. But the graves themselves were empty. Father Aldrich wrote his final entry that morning in the church's record book. "The Soul's Day has come and taken what was owed." I warned them, but pride deafens the heart. The fog carries whispers still, not of mercy but of hunger. I have lit my 3 candles. If I am taken, let my words be a light for those who remain. No one saw Father Aldrich again. Years passed. The village of Graven Hollow faded from maps and memory, swallowed by the forest and the fog. Travelers avoided the valley, claiming the air grew too heavy, the silence too deep. But sometimes when the frost returns and the mist rolls down from the river, hikers still report hearing a bell toll once at midnight. They speak of seeing distant lights in the fog, small, flickering flames moving as if held in unseen hands. And sometimes, if you stand too long in that valley, you'll hear a knock. Soft, polite. At first it sounds like branches tapping in the wind, but it gets closer. And when you turn, you might see a face you recognize, someone you thought you lost long ago. When that happens, there's only one thing to do. Don't open the door. Don't speak their name. Just light 3 candles, one for the living, one for the dead, and one for those in between. Because if the stories are true, the Soul's Day isn't a night to mourn the dead. It's the night they come looking for the living. So when the mist rises, and you hear that faint tolling in the distance, remember what happened in Graven Hollow, and ask yourself, if your door knocked at midnight on Souls Day, would you open it? Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more stories that blur the line between life and death.